those people are open to higher truth. Those people can be led to higher truth. You still with me?
Yes.
So this is the beginning of how we transition into, or how we open ourselves up, because it's not on us, it's about God bringing us up, but this is how we open ourselves up to higher states of consciousness. When we place ourselves, when we are open ourselves, we become more sensitive to the awesomeness of our Creator, to the awesomeness of life, to the mystery and magnitude of God. So that's what it means by the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom. Because if I don't have that sense of awe, if I don't have that sense of reverence, if I don't have that sense of the magnitude of just how grand God is in comparison to how small I am, then there's no way that I'll ever get those higher truths. So what cultivates Yahweh in me is the question. What cultivates Yahweh in me? And it can be cultivated in different ways, but the door to Yahweh is spiritual practices. So spiritual practices which return me to, remind me of, and deepen my sensitivity to the awesomeness of the great I am. So spiritual practices which return me to, remind me of, and deepen my sensitivity to the awesomeness of the great I am. And whenever I lose my sense of just how awesome, how infinite, and whenever I lose my connection, my sensitivity to the infinity of God, then I cut myself off from higher levels of understanding. I've limited myself to what I can see, what I can hear, what I can taste, I've limited myself to the terrestrial realm. And this is the reason why Jesus talked about, we're going to get to this. The reason why worry is so toxic to the spiritual life. The reason why fear, natural fear, like phobias, are so toxic to the spiritual life, because it blocks me, it makes me ignore just how big God is. Because when I get consumed with worry, when I get consumed with the concerns of life, it blocks me off from the awesomeness of God, and therefore I can never see outside of my problem, because I've cut myself off from just how great and good God is. So it's a self-perpetuating cycle. So I've limited myself to the terrestrial realm in a state of worry, and I stay in that terrestrial realm, therefore I can never see any way out of it. So this is why it's so important to always be connecting with, practicing spiritual activities that remind me of the awesome, that deepen my sensitivity to the awesomeness of God. And in the state of awe, in the state of reverence, in the state of Yahweh, I can be led to the intermediate and celestial truths and levels of reality and awareness. Only in the state of awe, only in the state of reverence, only in the state of Yahweh can I be led to the intermediate celestial truths and levels of reality and awareness. So questions on that? Are you still in the room? Can I proceed? Okay. So I'm going to give you one example, and it's going to be very brief, very brief, of one spiritual practice which I believe that you don't really hear too much about. So I want to start with one you probably don't hear too much about in the way it's practiced, and then we'll go to the more ones you will more expect. But I want to start with music. Before we do that, examples now. This is very important. Deuteronomy 6, very important. Now this is the commandment. This is right before the Israelites received, Exodus 20 or Deuteronomy. We have the 10 commandments. As you should know by now, there's 630 commandments in the scriptures. Just you should know that by now. We just focus on 10 of them. 10 of them kind of solidify it, and then we can solidify just the one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, love your neighbor as yourself, which is also in the Hebrew scriptures, which encompasses all of them. But Now this is the commandment, and these are the statutes and judgments which the Lord your God has commanded to teach you. I'm about to give you commandments, and that you may observe them in the land which you are crossing over to possess, that you may fear the Lord your God. The whole point of the commandments, is to keep you sensitive to the awesomeness of God. And now this is the commandment that these are the statutes and judgments which the Lord your God has commanded to teach you, that you may observe them in the land which you are crossing over to possess, and that you may Yahweh, the Lord your God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments which I command you, and you and your sons and your grandsons and all the days of your life, that your days may be prolonged. I'm giving you the commandments so that you can stay sensitive, so that you can stay in the state of Yahweh. Because if you stay in Yahweh, then you'll be able to understand the truths that I'm giving you. That's the whole point of the commandments. That's the whole point of everything in the scriptures, is to keep us sensitive. So Deuteronomy, write that down, go back to that. Deuteronomy 8. Therefore, you shall keep the commandments of the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, and to Yahweh him. To Yahweh him. For the Lord your God is bringing you into a good land, a land of brooks, of water, of fountains, of springs that flow out of the valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, of vines and fig trees, of pomegranates, a land of olive and honey, a land in which you will eat bread without scarcity, in which you will lack nothing, a land whose stones are iron, and out of those hills you can dig copper. Now, please don't, if you don't get anything else, get this. If you don't have Yahweh, the promised land becomes the wilderness. Let me tell you what that means by that. God is saying, I want you to have a sense of reverence. I want you to have a sense of awe. I want you to have a sense of Yahweh before you enter into the land. Because if you don't enter into the land won't do anything for you. Let me give you one example of that. Joshua was sent to go spy on the land of Canaan. Joshua was in a place of Yahweh, in a sense of consciousness. So Joshua and Caleb, they go into the land, they go spy, they go with a group of people. They go spot out the land. They come back and say, how was the land? So the two people in Yahweh, the two people, they said the land was full of huge fruits and flowing with milk and honey, and it was wonderful. The other people say, those people are giants, we'll never conquer them.
That's right. Yeah.
Both of them were in the promised land, but one of them only saw the obstacles, and the other one saw everything that God was going to do for them. You see what I'm saying? It's the difference. It doesn't matter. You can have $5 million, but if you don't have Yahweh, you will hate your life. You will find everything wrong with it. Everything can be going. You can get everything you want. It doesn't matter. If you don't have Yahweh, you will find something wrong with it. You will not be content. If you don't have Yahweh, you have nothing. If you have Yahweh, you have everything. What the monks say, desire all you have, and you will have all you desire. Yahweh is everything. So we focus on this whole mentality, and so many is fading now. But I mean, there was a whole period from the 80s up to the 90s. So many churches were preaching a terrestrial state of consciousness, and it was all about what God is going to give you and what God is going to do for you. It doesn't matter. You can have every single wish that you want. If you don't have Yahweh, you will just look at it like waste. Yahweh is the treasure. Yahweh is the gift. If you you can look at somebody and you can say, and they can have this going for them, 1, 2, 3, 4, all of this going for them, and they look at you and they say, well, this is wrong and this is wrong and I don't like this, and because they don't have Yahweh. And Yahweh is the key to seeing how good the promised land truly is. Because God can take you to the promised land, but if you don't have eyes to see it and appreciate it, it's going to be your desert. Are you still with me?
Yes.
Okay. So we see that the people who are really able to do unbelievable things for God's kingdom are the people who it's not necessarily the people who have more, or not necessarily the people who are smarter or who have more education, but it's the people who have grounded themselves deeply in the awesomeness of God. And from that, it changes their whole state of awareness. So when one person, when Sister Wilson's looking at the room, she's seeing something completely different than what everyone else is seeing, because she's in Yahweh and everyone else is not. So it's not the same room for her, because she's grounded herself in a sense of awe, in a sense of awesomeness. She's operating at a whole different level, and therefore she's able to get different results because she doesn't see the same thing that you see. And the only way that we can grasp the higher things of God is if we put all of our focus, all of our attention on making sure that we stay in this sense of Yahweh, because what? Yahweh is the beginning of all wisdom. Yahweh is the beginning of all knowledge. Yahweh is the beginning of, the Proverbs are very adamant about it. You know what? Yahweh is what does Yahweh lead you to? A fountain of life. What did Jesus say? I came to give you life, and I came to give you it abundantly. But if you don't have that sense of awe, you know, there's nothing Jesus can do for you. There's nothing Jesus can do for you. The fountain of life, the place of refuge, the beginning of wisdom, the Yahweh, we have to cultivate Yahweh. So Deuteronomy, go home, look at that, read that whole verse when you get a chance. Deuteronomy 6, Deuteronomy 8. You can go through all throughout the Hebrew scriptures, but those are very clear examples of it. Okay, so let's talk about one example that I like to. So music as a door. So any questions? You still with me? Are you still in the room? Yeah. Are you terrestrial, intermediate, or celestial? Okay. Second Kings. Actually, pull out your Bibles and just look at this. This is too. This is absolutely fascinating. 2 Kings chapter 3, start with verse 13. When we started our Bible study many years ago, we used to have a quiz on the books of the Bible. We might need to go back to that.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that?
Yeah. Remember that. Yeah.
Okay. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, talking verse 13. And Elisha, remember Elisha was the mentee of Elijah. Elisha said to the king of Israel, "What have I to do with you?" I love this guys. "Go to the prophets of your father and to the prophets of your mother." So basically the king of Israel is trying to get Elisha to prophesy to, and Elisha is saying, "Go to your yes men, go, because, they just tell you what you want to hear, you don't want to hear what I really have to say. So what have I to do with you? Go to the prophets of your father and to the prophets of your mother." And Elisha is basically irritated. He's agitated with the king. So, but the king just said to him, "No, it is the Lord who has called these 3 kings to give them into the land of Moab." And Elisha said, "As the Lord of hosts is before whom I stand, were it not that I have regard for Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, and would neither look at you or see you." So Elisha is basically mad, okay? "But now bring me a musician." Bring me a musician. And when the musician played, the hand of the Lord came upon him. And he said, "Thus says the Lord, I will make this dry steam bed full of pools. And thus says the Lord, you shall not see wind or rain, but the steam bed shall be filled with water, so that you shall drink, you, your livestock, and your animals." Why? This is almost comical. Why did Elisha ask for a musician? Why?
Oh, I see. to change as well.
That's close, that's close.
Music does something to your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Music, it changes your brain. I mean,
Wow.
you see it with patients with dementia. When they hear music, like people that can't speak a sentence, and when they hear music, their verbalization skills get better.
Yeah.
Music affects the mind.
Okay, but because let's take it. So using the principles that we talked about thus far, why does he ask for a musician? Remember we talked about the prophetic principles. Elisha, we can speculate maybe that he was angry, he was irritated. You know, I don't think that's a stretch. And then so remember what is the job of a prophet? The job of a prophet is to become empty, so that the word can flow through them. So he said, bring me a musician to empty me out so that I can prophesy for this man.
Okay.
So I lift it up because music has many different functions. Music is not just for comfort, it's not just for entertainment, particularly in the context of the body of Christ. Music is the precursor to the prophetic moment. The purpose of music is a celebratory aspect of music, there's a comforting aspect of music, but there's also a prophetic part of music that we have missed. And the purpose of music is to set the mode, is to set the people, is to clean the people out so that they can be open to the movement of the Spirit, which we have kind of lost in many churches now. Because music is more about making me feel good, entertaining me, but the prophetic part of music has been lost a lot. Music prepares us for the prophetic moment. And it doesn't just prepare us for the prophetic moment, it doesn't just get us in a good mood, it literally is supposed to empty us out of those things that may have been blocking us so that God's Spirit can move through us. Actually the music is not what makes us feel the Spirit. The music cleans us out so that we can experience the Spirit afterwards. So music is one way, is one spiritual practice. And see, we've gotten so much into this, which would have been completely foreign to the early church. We've gotten into this terrestrial mode of music being good or bad, music being that's good or that sounds good. It's all, that's a completely foreign aspect to the early church. Music was meant to cultivate, to clean out us so that, and there's many ways you can do it. It doesn't have anything about whether it sounds pretty to your ears or not. It's really about the cleaning out process so that we can be ready for the prophetic moment. And Elisha didn't say, bring me the best musician in the land. He didn't say, bring me the top. Bring me musician so that I can be cleaned out, so that the Spirit can move through me. Another example is music as a door. 1 Samuel 10. After that, you shall come to the hill of God. This is Samuel speaking to Saul, who's about to be king. The Philistine of the garrison is. And it will happen when you have come there to the city that you will meet a group of prophets coming down from a high place with a string instrument, a tambourine, a flute, and a harp before them. And they will be prophesied. And then the Spirit of the Lord will come upon you, and you will prophesy with them, and will be turned into another man. And let it be when these signs come to you that you do as the occasion demands. For God is with you, and you shall go down before me to the Gilgal, and surely I will come down to you to offer burnt offerings and make sacrifice of peace. 7 days you shall wait till I come to you and show you what you should do. So listen, the Spirit of the Lord will come upon you, and once again, you will be emptied out. The Spirit of the Lord will come through you. You will prophesy, and you will turn into another man. Why? Because when you become empty and allow God's Spirit to move through you, we are God's Spirit. We are God's Spirit. And that's the contemplation, that's the union. That's the celestial state of reality and awareness. So that's just one example. I always want to lift that up because I think it's just so underplayed now in so many of our churches. Music as the cleaning out for the prophetic atmosphere. And it doesn't have anything to do about entertaining people or playing for people. It's a whole different mindset when you look at it that way. Okay? Okay, so summary, conclusion. Yahweh is central. Yahweh is central to assessing intermediate and celestial truths. To accessing intermediate and celestial truths. Spiritual practices help cultivate Yahweh in us. So it's so important. It's so important that we the rhythm, get into the rhythm of prayer, get into the rhythm of getting into the rhythm of practicing compassion to people, which is what all the 360 commandments really go back to. They all go back to a love and compassion for God and a love and compassion for each other. And if you don't, there is no way. See, Christianity has influenced Western culture so much. We basically stripped Christianity of its potency, and we watered it down and just made it secular and put it in in Hallmark cards and stuff like that. But there is no way that you can understand the deeper truths of God without love. So I don't care. You can have 5 PhDs, but if you will never access the celestial realms without love, because love is the door. Love is the door that allows us to enter into the awesomeness of God. There's no way that you can do it without love. And love, mercy, compassion, they're all connected. This is absolutely essential. So, and music is one of the ways. This is one of the ways, but we'll talk about a few more ways. In scriptures, you'll see very clearly in scriptures of this process of emptying me out, preparing me so that I can be more sensitive, so I can be a Yahweh. And then once I'm in a state of Yahweh, then the Spirit does what the Spirit does. So it's all about what needs to happen in your life, what needs to be restructured and rearranged in your life so that you can be more open to the awesomeness of God. And whatever's blocking you from the awesomeness of God is also blocking you from higher states of awareness and consciousness. And that's what we don't get. Worry, toxic. Fear of terrestrial things, toxic, because it makes you basically, it makes you forget about just how big God really is. Okay, we'll stop right there. Questions on that? We good? Okay. All right. If you have any questions, write them down. We can discuss them next week. But we'll spend at least one more week on state of consciousness. At least 1 week on state of consciousness, and particularly this notion of Yahweh. Everyone got my slides right from last week? Cool. All right.
Do you have a slide for next week? Do you have a slide for next week?
Yes. As soon as I put them, then they'll be sent out. Yeah. So you should get it by Thursday and Friday. All right. Well, let's stand and we'll close in the Lord's prayer, body prayer.